It is critical that we understand how you are spending taxpayer dollars. So Director Patel, when should we expect this FY25 spend plan for the FBI? Have you seen it? Have you reviewed it? When will we get it?
I'll get you an answer, ma'am. I don't have a timeline on that.
It was due last week by law.
I understand.
And your answer is you just understand. You're not going to follow the law?
My answer is that I am following the law, and I'm working with my interagency partners to do this and get you the budget that you are required to have.
And you have no timeline?
On May 7th, 2025, Kash Patel told House appropriators that the proposed $500 million cut to the FBI budget was too much. He said the FBI had actually requested an increase. He said the FBI cannot do its mission at 2011 budget levels. The next morning, he sat down in front of the Senate Appropriations Committee. The committee was also missing something. A document required by federal law, the FBI's fiscal year 2025 spend plan was already a week overdue. Here's what happened when they asked him about it.
Let me just start with the budget. As Ranking Member Van Hollen noted earlier, this hearing is being held without the FBI's fiscal year 2025 spend plan and a full budget request for fiscal year 2026. The spend plan is required by law. It was due to Congress over a week ago. We have not yet seen it. That is really absurd. The FBI is our nation's leading law enforcement agency, a budget of $10.7 billion. It is critical that we understand how you are spending taxpayer dollars. So Director Patel, when should we expect this FY25 spend plan for the FBI? Have you seen it? Have you reviewed it? When will we get it?
I'll get you an answer, ma'am. I don't have a timeline on that.
It was due last week by law.
I understand.
And your answer is you just understand. You're not going to follow the law?
My answer is that I am following the law, and I'm working with my interagency partners to do this and get you the budget that you are required to have.
And you have no timeline?
No.
Well, we also need a full budget request, not a single paragraph full of wild talking points that we saw with the skinny budget proposal. We're now having a budget hearing without a budget request. So, Director Patel, where is the FY 2026 budget request for the FBI?
It's being worked on, ma'am.
Have you reviewed it? Have you approved it?
Not yet.
When will we get it?
As soon as I can get it from my interagency partners and get it approved.
6 months from now?
I don't know, ma'am. I'm not going to
Well,
make up
how
a
do
timeline.
we as Congress do our budget and our work without that request and without the spend plan?
Well, ma'am, I'm here. I'm
don't
doing the
care.
best I can. I can't make up answers. I'm going to commit to you to work on getting you the information you need.
That is insufficient and deeply disturbing. No response?
I've given my response.
Well, the FBI is already down 1,900 employees since 2023 as a direct result of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. And under the Trump administration, FBI agents, analysts, linguists, cyber experts, and scientists are being asked to do a lot more in order to keep us safe. Director Patel, we all know that budget cuts will reduce the FBI's ability to counter threats of terrorism, and it will hinder its ability to keep pace with firearm background checks and shutter operations that combat violent crime, drugs, gangs, and transnational organized crime. Now, I understand that you told our House colleagues yesterday that you don't want to reduce the FBI workforce, meaning that you disagree with what President Trump is proposing?
No, I agree that we can sustain the mission with the proposed budget, and I agree with the budget. And as I said yesterday, I believe that what I said was I can do more with more. And I gave examples of what more we could do if we were given more.
Well, it's different than what you told the House yesterday. So what are you communicating to the President and the White House about what you need and what? And again, we don't have a budget request from you, so I'm not sure what you're asking us for.
I'm not asking you for anything at this time.
You can operate without a budget?
I never said that.
Well, this is unprecedented. Okay, well, let me just go to another topic since you're not going to answer that. The FBI partners with state, local, and tribal law enforcement organizations. They provide critical intelligence and operational capabilities to combat violent crime and gangs and terrorist threats, fentanyl trafficking, challenges that our local communities really can't face alone. I'm going to give you an example. A few years ago, the Southeast Washington Safe Streets FBI Task Force worked with our Benton County and Franklin County Sheriff's Office, multiple Tri-Cities police departments, and the State Corrections Department to carry out one of the largest ever drug seizures in the region's history. Now we've got an administration already cutting more than $800 million in assistance in 2025 to local law enforcement organizations while proposing a $500 million cut for the FBI. Director Patel, can you explain to this committee how cutting resources for our local law enforcement partner agencies the FBI relies on to help your bureau keep safe, how do you expect the FBI and local law enforcement to do more without those significant resources they need?
The FBI will continue to do what it does, which is work with embedded state and local law enforcement officers in our Joint Terrorism Task Force, in our Safe Streets Task Force, in our gang task forces. Those are a priority. Those billets have been maintained. Those billets have not been reduced. And with my reorientation, reprogramming that we've notified Congress to, you will see an augmentation in the field in every single state in this country.
Well, again, we need to see the numbers and we need to see that budget from you.
Thank you very much, Chair and Ranking, and thank you, Director Patel. I appreciate your being here today. I'm the co-chair of the Law Enforcement Caucus in the Senate with Senator Cornyn, and as someone who had responsibility for the second largest law enforcement in my admittedly small state for the decade before I came here, I got to see the importance of the FBI as a training resource, as a critical technical and law enforcement partner for state and local law enforcement in my state. Just this past year, in November, the FBI and Delaware law enforcement successfully investigated and arrested an individual who was leading a human trafficking ring. Just a reminder of how federal, state, local partnership can make a huge difference. We're here at the Appropriations Committee. As best I understand where we are, you have not submitted an appropriations request. What we've got from the administration is a so-called skinny budget, just a few sentences. And it asks for $545 million in cuts to the FBI. I believe you testified yesterday to House Appropriations that you would request $11.1 billion. The administration's request is $10.1 billion. I'm familiar with the dynamics of differences between what agencies could productively use and what administrations request. But I'll be blunt, I'm concerned about the trajectory the administration has taken on funding law enforcement. DOJ cut, through the Office of Justice Programs at DOJ, 365 grants totaling more than $800 million. And they were not all DEI or climate change or things that didn't support the president's agenda. They cut grants that aided victims of crime, violent crime investigators programs, programs combating child abuse. I am not in any way suggesting that you were responsible for that. I'm just saying there seems to me to be a tension between those of us who want to robustly support federal law enforcement and the absence of any request from you here today. Will you return to this committee for us to have an appropriations hearing once there is actually a budget request from the FBI?
I will speak to, this being my first go-around, Senator, I'll speak to the Department of Justice and circle back with you on that.
Please, because bluntly at your confirmation hearing, you answered questions from Senator Padilla, Senator Britt about the urgency of retaining your workforce, investing in training. I believe you testified yesterday that if the budget request submitted by the administration was enacted, you'd have to lay off 1,300 agents. Is that accurate?
There's a little more nuance to it than that. The folks that have taken what we call the fork in the road initiatives have filled that number in terms of how many would have to be quote unquote laid off. And then there's the
leave federal service, which is an important reduction in the force that you have available to you to fight crime.
Right. But those folks have already entered that program or are in it now.
I look forward to getting an actual appropriations request from the administration and to going over it with you. Let me just renew one other specific question. Eligibility for the FERS annuity supplement. FERS is the Federal Employees Retirement System. If in fact the reconciliation bill that the House Oversight Committee is considering removes eligibility. This would deprive thousands of agents of tens of thousands of dollars a year in earned benefits and would have a real impact on early retirement and on recruitment and retention. What are you doing about this threat to the FERS retirement benefit eligibility?
Senator, one of your colleagues asked me a similar question, and I will get back to you on that, specifics of what's happening with FERS.
Kash Patel came to a budget hearing without the budget document required by law. He told the committee he had no timeline for producing it. He told the House the day before that the proposed cuts were too deep and that the FBI had requested an increase. He told the Senate the next day he was not asking for anything. The spend plan was already a week overdue when he sat down. Senator Murray asked when it would arrive. He said he would get her an answer. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Our channel covers the most important records from hearings.